Hey y'all, welcome back to GOT Outpost. I'm Drew Mather.
Hey, and I'm Jay Anthony. Today we're here talking about big tents. Outfitter tents, wall tents. Let's take a look at what we got sitting behind us. Right here we've got a Cabela's 12 by 12 outfitter tent. Definitely a tent that you're not going to want to pack in on your back. Way too heavy. This is meant mainly for livestock, horses, llamas. A lot of people using pack goats nowadays. Definitely would work well for those type of out adventures.
Yeah, and I mean, I always grew up when I all through my childhood, anytime we'd go to duck camp or elk camp or anything like that, we would set up usually 2 wall tents. So not this exact variation, but a wall tent, it's basically a canvas tent. They're usually typically taller and quite a bit wider and longer in dimensions. Right. But their biggest intended use is for comfort. You can't bring them very far unless you have transportation, because not something you can pack in on your back, but they are extremely comfortable. Usually you will set up one where everyone sleeps in. So you can fit usually 6 to 8 guys in one wall tent. Everyone has plenty of room. You can use cots, you can use anything to get up off the ground. And you will usually set up another one just for food. So we'll just all hang out in there, set up a bunch of tables to cook dinner and sit down and enjoy dinner together. So they are very handy for those type of activities, right? Where you can pack in. A lot of outfitters will use them packing in on horseback.
Yeah, they
to
all
set
have
up a
wood.
camp.
Yeah, they all have wood stoves as well. So there's a heat source in each one of them, whether it be a cook shack or whether it's the bunkhouse per se.
Yeah.
Come on in and we'll take a look at what we've got going on in this one. This one has like a nice front little vestibule. It's not completely enclosed. It's just a covered area where you could put some of your gear outside and stay dry. It's kind of handy to not have all your wet stuff being inside.
Yeah.
A lot of the bigger wall tents will have a fully enclosed vestibule where you could stack wood, clothes, packs, all different kinds of stuff. You want to take them and show them inside?
Yeah. Come on in, guys. So this just gives you guys a good presentation of how roomy and spacious this place is.
And tall.
It is. You can actually stand up in it.
Yeah, it's really nice to be able to stand up in the morning and put your put your clothes on, change your pants. Yeah. You know, in some of the smaller tents, you're laying back on your sleeping bag and you're trying to, finagle how you're going to get your boots and pants on. This really does. It's kind of like a cheat code. It really makes it nice to be able to stand up and move around.
Yeah, 100%.
If you've only got 3 people in a tent like this, it's amazing. It really is amazing. But
I mean, one thing to consider though, any outfitter tent for the most part and wall tents, they're all single walls.
Yeah.
And so like this tent, for example, it doesn't have as much breathability. You can build condensation, especially with this big teepee wall or ceiling.
Yep. It
can build up a lot of condensation. All that heat rises. Most of the ventilation is in the walls, right?
Yep.
So you can get quite a bit of condensation that may drip on you overnight.
Yep.
So making sure you crack those windows and make sure you vent the top. So that's one thing. We'll hop back out.
Yep.
So that's one thing to consider. Like this, for example, that is a venting system for the peak of the outfitter's tent.
I forget to open the vents every single time I set this tent up. And then it means you're taking it down and just to open up those 2 little vents, which are the only form of letting that heat out at the top.
But it's a game changer if you don't.
It is, absolutely.
Just because you're gonna have water dripping on your face. It's gonna wake you up. It's gonna be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So make sure you vent it properly. I mean, also I had some family friends. They used an outfitter tent just like this. It was freezing cold outside. They didn't vent it at all because they were trying to keep the cold air out.
Yeah.
They had a Mr. Buddy heater inside just to keep warm. They didn't have a stove or anything because they packed it in on horseback. And they woke up in the middle of the night because the Mr. Buddy heat went out and they were cold. They were freezing their butts off. So they woke up in the middle of the night. They're like, hey, we got to get some heat going. They go to light the Mr. Buddy heater. It won't light. The match won't even strike.
Really?
They realized that there was 0 oxygen in the tent, which that's a life or death situation right
No
there.
doubt.
And that's super dangerous. So make sure you vent the tent just for safety reasons. Even if it's cold out, make sure you have precautions for that. Just get a stove.
Yeah.
Because a lot of these wall tents and outfitter tents, you can run a stove in there. Considering that though, and even if you don't have a stove, set up your tent, see how spacious it is, because every tent, they may say 6 to 8.
Oh,
but
no way.
usually it's always on the lower end.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of tents, if it says 6 people, you're probably gonna fit 4 comfortably.
Yeah. I think this tent is labeled as like an 8 or a 10 person tent. Even without cots, there's no freaking way I would get in that thing with all those people.
Yeah,
There's
I
just
mean,
no way. I wouldn't do it.
You're touching each
No, I'm
other.
not. Yeah, that's not happening.
If you're fitting it at its full capacity.
No way is that happening.
Yeah. So those are some heavily things to consider. I think other things too, with a tent of this size, especially outfitter tents, there is some trip hazards, right?
Yep.
So getting some exterior lights set up is very important, because I've tripped on these many of times trying to go get stuff out of the cooler outside of the tent, or out of a dry box, for example.
Yep.
Anything else that you can think of?
Setup time. You know, tents of these size, they're not like a little, you know, teepee or a little dome tent. I mean, this one's pretty simple to set up. This only takes maybe 15 minutes, but I've had ones that are similar to this that are bigger and longer. For 2 guys, I mean, it's a half hour to 40 minutes to set up a tent, to get it, you know, the way you want it, to get, you know, on a level space, make sure all the guy outs are where they need to be. And so if, you know, if time is, you know, if the weather's bad, you know, and you show up and it's raining, you know, it's going to be kind of miserable setting the tent up for sure.
Can you set it up by yourself?
This one you can set up by yourself easily.
Yeah, because I know from my experience, wall tents, like a typical wall tent, canvas wall tent, you cannot do by yourself.
Right.
They're way too heavy. Usually you have to have multiple guys putting in legs at the same time to lift up one wall. So also consider that if you're going up early before your buddies, you're not gonna be able to stay in that tent. Because you can't do it alone.
Yeah, this one definitely. I mean, I had one of my not so bright moments years ago and decided I was gonna try to get a spot for our elk camp, and I put this on my back and hiked up like 6 miles with it on my back, which was a whole nother story. It was not very smart. But so I did do it, but I can set it up by myself. So that is an advantage of this particular tent. But wall tents in general, multiple people involved to put it up.
And that's one thing that you also need to consider, right, is there's always going to be a form of compromise when you're going to be camping.
Yeah.
So like you had to compromise on that pack-in, right? You probably were miserable in those 6 miles.
I was not happy.
That hike.
Not happy.
But you guys had a comfortable place to sleep that night. You guys didn't have, you had more space. You could stand up, you could move around.
Yeah.
You had space. So you just have to figure out where are you willing to compromise in that comfort area.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on weather with wall tents?
They're phenomenal.
Yeah.
I think they're bomb-proof for the most sense. I mean, you can really, you can handle almost any weather with a wall tent. Or
snow included in that?
For the most part, because of how they're designed, they are very structurally sound. They're very sturdy. At least the ones that I've ran, especially wall tents, the canvas wall tents, they're all usually used with steel pipe.
Right.
So the biggest thing that you need to also be aware of when setting these up, don't compromise on staking it down.
Right.
It may be a lot of extra work.
Yeah.
But make sure to stake it down, because
I
mean, especially if you're in the mountains, I mean, really anywhere, you can get those microburst storms that come through.
Oh, for sure.
And it can change everything really quick.
I mean, there's been times where I've added guy out points to tents just for that extra security to make sure that it's going to be down, especially here in, in Colorado, up in the high country. You don't know what, I mean, it could be like this out one day and then wake up in an absolute blizzard in the morning. So it's well worth taking the extra time to stake it out.
Absolutely. I mean, that happened to us a couple of years ago. We were up elk hunting. It was beautiful. September. Yeah. Super nice out. Like that, everything changed.
Crazy.
We were in a wall tent, so we just drove it brought it from our trucks. We car camped, and we'd hike from there. But when weather changed immediately, it dropped down to, I think, 8 degrees at night. Snowed about 6-8 inches, but we had a wood stove, so we were comfortable. We just had to make sure to stoke that fire up in the middle of the night. But outside of that, they are a great option if you have that ability to pack it in.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, the snow load and that type of thing leads us to our next tent that we'll talk about on our next episode. Talking about the dome tents.
We'll talk about the dome tent. The most standard tent that you'll typically find, you can find them at any sort of Walmart, really any sort of outdoor store, you can find a dome tent.
Yeah. So we'll be back to you on the next episode and we'll talk about those tents.
All right, we'll see you guys there.
See ya.